Hello everybody. Today we have a video entitled Will Smith, Chris Rock, and Oscars, Hoax or Fact. So we're basically going into the events at the Oscars that recently happened this Sunday, which I believe was the 27th of March. Today is March 29, 2022. In the table of contents, what will be covered: what was said by Chris Rock to antagonize Will Smith? Brief summary of Oscars and origin. Chris Rock and Will Smith relationship/correlation. Is the world a stage full of actors playing their roles? Are we laughing at the actors, or are the actors laughing at us? Does a Freemason connection exist? Implementation of feminism to destroy the family and man. Depiction of black men fighting and humiliating each other. What is the price of fame worth? Hoax or fact? Closing statements, special thanks, references. I like to say all praises due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, creator of universe. I also like to say I love my mother, I love my father, I love our son and have love for the mother of our son. But what was said by Chris Rock to antagonize Will Smith? Speaking at Jada Pinkett Smith, Rock said that he was excited to see her in G.I. Jane 2. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see you. So G.I. Jane was a movie that actress Demi Moore played in, where she was, to the best of my recollection, doing a Navy SEAL training. So this is the thing, is that Chris Rock made a reference to Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, that she resembled Demi Moore because of her shaved head. So these are some questions that we could put in our mind. Does Jada Pinkett Smith have alopecia with shaved head? So this is something that was stated. Of course, that would be in her medical records and confidentiality with HIPAA with her medical providers to truly know that. But then we ask, is Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head symbolic of a deeper meaning? So we had the Bible, 1 Corinthians 11:6. For if a wife will not cover her head, then she should cut her hair short. But since it is disgraceful for a wife to cut off her hair or shave her head, let her cover her head. English Standard Version. This woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that you do so are abomination unto thy Lord thy God. So you have to ask yourself the question, does Jada Pinkett Smith have alopecia, or is this some kind of shame from her open relationship as a married woman in the past with August Alsina? Let's go to the next slide. So a brief summary of Oscars and origin, or its origin. Academy, or the Oscars, are awards for artists, actors, etc. in the film industry. The first award show was held on May 16, 1929. The award was sculpted by George Stanley from a design sketch by Cedric Gibbons. So they cost about $400 to make, and they have a face value of $1. So let's go to this next slide. We have a picture here with all kinds of images here. And we see Oscar equals Sarko, which means element meaning flesh, fleshy of the flesh. Then we have King Tut sarcophagus, a picture here of an Oscar award and some of the Oscar logos. This first one here is a pyramid with the Oscar, which could be a sarcophagus with the flesh in it. Just something you to think about. And another pyramid with the sarcophagus, uh, which has to do with the flesh, like a mummy or reference to King Tut's sarcophagus. You also have a resemblance of an Oscar award uh, that has been designed uh, almost in the likeness of Ptah, Egyptian deity, and Osiris, another Egyptian deity. So this is their inspiration from Egyptian and African history and ancient culture. And we also have pyramids that have symbology with the Freemasons, which are a fraternal order that have a lot of similarities and a lot of correlation to Egyptian ancient culture and history. And then we also have the Sphinx here with the pyramid. Let's go to the next slide. So, Chris Rock and Will Smith's relationship slash correlation. So we know that Chris Rock made a cameo appearance on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith and Chris Rock played in Torrance Rises, a 1999 mockumentary directed by Spike Jonze. So they're both actors. They've been in movies. They have popularity. Will Smith came from being a rapper, musician, into making films. Chris Rock was a comedian and went into films. Let me go to the next slide. So this is a picture of Will Smith as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with Chris Rock dressed as a woman. And him playing a woman or imitating a woman is also a reference to the biblical scripture that we quoted, do not imitate women and women don't imitate men. But of course they would say something that this is acting, but in plain sight this is something that Chris Rock has done for fame. And God is perfect in all ways, to where he created women and men special and unique in their own ways. So this is the evil of mankind to try to create something that God has not created and call it art. But let's go to the next slide. Is this world a stage full of actors playing their roles? So we have a picture here of Jada Pinkett Smith, Chris Rock, and Will Smith. And we see here that they seem to have a relationship. They know each other. Chris Rock has his hands around both of them, Jada and Will. And this is a different story than what transpired at the Oscars, where Will Smith uh, slapped Chris Rock for comments against his wife. Let's go to the next slide. So is this world a stage full of actors playing their roles? We are all acting on a stage and the world is our audience. Antonello Fiore. All the world is a stage and all the men and women merely players. Shakespeare. So we are not behind the scenes. We see what is projected to us through the media, through the different channels to what they want us to see. What happens behind the scenes is more what really happens. So basically, Shakespeare is saying that we're all players in this game called life, actors living out our stages in life. So some examples of actors would be police, state actors, judges, lawyers, actors. What is their stage? The court. Sports, actors, football, basketball. What is their stage? The football field, the baseball field, the hockey field. Actors. That's what they are. So we are not perfect. We all sin. So by no means am I pointing people and singling them out, because I'd have to look at myself and what I do. But this is just more to inform the people and to look at the events that transpired at the Oscars, to generate some brainstorming, to look at it and see, is it really what it is? And then we also have to remember controversy sells. Prince said that. That's controversy. People want to hear, a lot of people like the gossip, a lot of people like the drama, and that's what sells. A long time ago they had the Jerry Springer show and these shows, syndicated shows, that there would be controversy on there, and that's what sells. Sex sells, people are attractive, people are beautiful. Things that are attractive, people desire, they want to buy, they want to obtain. And that's how sex sells. Desires, passions. August Alsina entanglement with Jada Pinkett Smith. He said that they had an affair. For some reason, her being a married woman, she wanted to be with August Alsina. Controversy sells, sex sells. So some questions, is this staged? You have to really think that. These people are actors and they're good. They're all good. Chris Rock, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, they're top notch. So how would you be able to tell? I mean, we understand things happen in life. People make mistakes, people get angry, and things happen and they do things out of their anger they shouldn't do. But, we have to ask, is it staged? Is it for Oscar ratings? Like one person said, no one would have knew the Oscars was on only because Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. And then slap versus a punch. We seen the WWE and WWF. You could fake slap. Punch. Can you do that? You could also do that too. But why did Will Smith choose to slap him as opposed to punch? So once again, is it staged? Is it rigged? Because as we say, the world is a stage and these events are rigged. Courtrooms, they're rigged. Sports that are rigged. Actors, it's rigged. It's a game. Sports, this entertainment. They're not going to say, oh, we rigged the game, but to do it in a way that brings a controversy, to sell the tickets, to fill the stadiums. So this is something to think about. What's going on in Vegas? How does that change the way that the game wins? How much money is involved? And one of the most important things, what about mental health? Are these people acting? Is this a sign of the mental breakdown? Is this for attention? People go through things in lives and they hurt and they have pain. and they hurt others, people hurt them, they have trauma from their childhood and their past. So it's about mental health. But the thing about mental health is you could smile and not know the pain that's inside. So this is the thing about mental health, is that what is going on, behind the smile. Is this for ratings? Are they crying out, or is this for attention to promote whatever it is going on? Movies, films, music albums. Something to think about. Go to the next slide. So, are we laughing at the actors, or are the actors laughing at us? Are we laughing with them? When we see comedy, we're laughing at the jokes. We're laughing possibly because we have similar experiences, or you might be laughing because we want to be entertained. The bread and circuses, or the curiosity to see actors and comedians that you admire. Are they laughing at us? Is a question to where, to reference the previous slide, we're not behind the scenes, so we don't see what the people behind the scenes, the crew, the directors, producers, etc., see. That's the true seeing it is behind the scenes. So the question is, are they laughing at us? Are they laughing at us because we just don't get it in plain sight? That they're rigging our reality through television and media and lies and politicians and the government? So that's just a question to think about. So there was references about a year or two ago that the Oscars was too Caucasian or so-called white. And I want to say that white and black are not necessarily pertaining to race, but this is the way we describe people. But in legal terms, white and black have two different meanings. Black means dead. White means sovereign or free man. So when you say these things in the true meaning, it doesn't deal with race. But for this video, we'll speak on it about race. So back to what I was saying, is that there was a boycott of the Oscars, and from them feeling that they were biased or unfair. So you have this Oscars that just passed, where Will Smith won an Oscar for the movie King Richard. And this is all this thing that a couple years there was a controversy. Now that he won and he slapped Chris Rock, this is a controversy. So are they laughing at us to where we just don't get it? Are their acting skills so superb that we can't tell if it's real or not? It's just a question. Infidelity in marriage or humiliation ritual for fame. So Will Smith married to a woman in an open marriage, or having adulterous affairs, humiliation for fame, Freemasonry, so he could stay relevant and he could have fame and money. Infidelity, and promoting that to society, that's okay for people to do in their marriage, which is not. So these are things to think about. Humiliation rituals, some you could look up. And Chris Rock hosts the Oscars. Now you have to think, was this pre-planned? Did they talk and discuss this, make it look real, slap me hard for the ratings? Because this is the talk of the town. So these are just some things to think about. Go to the next slide. Does a Freemason connection exist? So we have Will Smith doing his speech at the Oscars. You could see all the symbology of many pyramids and what looks like a cross, but those are Oscars. But the cross with the small tip is symbolic of something else, not a Christian cross. crosser resembles death. So you have these pyramids, which are similar to the slides that we looked at, the meaning behind the Oscars and their rituals, Freemasonry, the sarcophagus, the little Oscar that resembles the Egyptian deities inside the pyramid. They worship the sun god. They worship Satan. So these are just some things on your own to look up. Don't take my word for it, but rather study and research for your own. Study thyself, approve unto God. Next slide. So we have Freemason. Does a Freemason connection exist? So we have Will Smith at his speech tucking his hand in his arm, and this is a Freemason pose. You know, this slide was brought to you by Conspiracy with two Z's, and this is Will Smith doing a Freemason pose. Most people won't get it. They'll think he's just putting his hand in his jacket, but he's not reaching for his cell phone. Even if you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, he doesn't have more than likely gastric pain, but this is rather his hand tucked in his jacket to show his Freemason colleagues that he's down with the fraternity. So this is all in the symbology to where he's paying his allegiance or tribute to them because he's accepting the award on his behalf and on their behalf. So there's something to think about. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, and there's deeper meanings in the pictures. It just takes a little time to study and look at it. Here's the next slide. So does a Freemasonry connection exist? Yeah, pyramids. Yes, the Freemasons, they love pyramids. Jay-Z throwing up the rock, that's the Freemason pyramid. A lot of the celebrities, so-called black and whites, they throw that up, like Jay-Z. So the name of the pose that Will Smith had is called the sign of the master, the second veil. He didn't have a Freemasonry. Look this up for yourself. So logos and symbols in plain sight, we just don't see them. You know, we might like Will Smith because he's been in a lot of good movies. He's a good actor. He was a very good musician. So we fall in love with these characters and we don't see these symbols because of the love. So it says sign and symbols rule the world, not the words nor laws. Confucius. So think about it. These are signs and symbols that the Freemasons do. Gang signs to communicate. Gang members, they throw up their gang signs and pictures to communicate with other gang members. Sorority signs to communicate like the Freemasons. So there is a Freemason connection. Next slide. So implementation of feminism to destroy the family and man. So we're going to start by a woman liberations movement funded by the Rockefeller Foundation. So one would be to tax women. It's hard to tax a single uh, income, but when you promote the woman's liberation and the woman becomes independent like the man, then the so-called U.S. government is able to tax two incomes. With the liberation of the woman, it allows for the indoctrination of kids at an early age if both the men and the women are outside of the house. It's also a way to break up the family to get the state to come in and raise the kid, and the state has all kind of programs for the kid, and I don't want to say kid, but son or daughter, that if the son or daughter does things that the state can take over, since uh, sons and daughters are wards of the state through the birth certificate. So basically, the state would be the family, teachers of the family. This was said by Aaron Russo from his movie or documentary From Freedom to Fascism. And this is just basically speaking on how the Rockefeller Foundation, or the so-called Illuminati, funded these programs for their purposes that they don't really discuss. So we'll say that Jada Pinkett Smith opened an affair with August Alsina. You know, any kind of affair going to destroy a marriage and a family, but it was open, and that's not what marriage is about. They should have wanted to be with each other. They should have cut it off and then did it the right way. But this is the stuff that is promoted and the agenda behind these so-called Hollywood stars to promote infidelity and destruction of the family. So humiliation of Will Smith for the whole world to see. So once again, you know, we don't know what he's done. God knows, and knows that have done wrong. No. So I don't want to just point it all at Jada Pinkett Smith, because we don't know what Will Smith has done as well. I mean, he's done some things too. He's kissed a man on that movie Hitch, which is another abomination. But for him to be humiliated by his wife, and for the whole world to see, for his rich humiliation, which was for him to obtain fame and success, that he's had a long-winded career with a lot of success. America's war to use feminism to destroy so-called black family and black man. So yeah, these things are apparent. There's always a deniability, or what you say, plausible deniability. But this is the true nature of our so-called government, that they have some kind of war against black people. They're not going to admit it, but when does a thief admit that he's wrong? So this is just something to think about. America's war to use feminism to destroy the family and men. You know, as stated from a quote by Aaron Russo, you know, someone wants to feel that they're liberated. But what is liberation worth if you're oppressing your family and the man figure, their male figure, to obtain the liberation? Is nothing. God has created man and woman in pairs, and through the synergy they work together. When they fight each other, it crumbles. So it's about the family. This feminism thing is just a way for the United States government to tax two incomes and put the children in peril or danger. It's something to think about. America's war to destroy families so states and U.S. governments can make money. Yes, we know this. Everything is about money with the U.S. government that went bankrupt in 1933 and only exists by corporation and military might. So everything they do is about money. They're money hungry. They're money mongers. You know, look this up. That's what it's about. It's commerce. It's commercial. They want money. It's slavery. It's peonage. Look it up. Don't take my word. Look it up. Next slide. So we have some so-called feminists at looks like some kind of protest. Don't know the nature of this protest, was not there, but we see these pictures. Woman saying blasphemy, some about her private parts, but God created her, and this is the thing of man. They think they get intellect, and then they blaspheme God or mankind. So this is just to think about feminism and the destruction of the family and the man. Cut the man's head off and the family falls apart. Stated in Islam, the man is the head of the household, and the woman is the heart of the household. So this is the events of the U.S. government in Hollywood to destroy the family, you know, through gender on gender relationships, um, taking God's commands and scriptures and doing stuff contrary to that. So this is just something for you to think about. Next slide. This depiction of black men fighting and humiliating each other. So is this what it's all about? That the so-called black men can't sit down and put their differences aside and heal one another as opposed to hurt each other in front for the world to see, like two animals and or two gladiators fighting, that we cannot sit down and have an intellectual conversation, but rather humiliate each other. So once again, we don't know if this is real, and did Will Smith do this to August Alsina for doing that with his wife? Did he tell his wife how he felt? Or is this all staged and rigged so he could get fame and riches for himself and his family as part of his Freemasonry ritual? Is that the duality? Or to show the world that black folks are less than animals and have to resort to violence? Is this the price of fame? Chris Rock dressing up as a woman, imitating a woman for fame. Will Smith kissing a man on the lips, kissing his son on the lips for fame. Are these the rituals to put down the black race and sell himself out as their souls for fame? This is a question to ask. And once again, we all commit sin. But not everyone sells their soul for fame. So this is something to think about. Next slide. So so-called black men harming each other. This could have been avoided. But once again, you don't know if it's staged. Is it for ratings? It's just the duality of Freemasonry. Will Smith slapping Chris Rock for his comments and then crying after receiving an award or Oscar. This is the duality of the Freemasonry, that there's multiple meanings to what is being conveyed. And then the thing is, black men kill each other. Black on black crime. This is what they perpetuate. This is what Hollywood and the government want. They want black folks to kill each other. And that's what this government in America is about. So government police kill black men. Yes, some of it is real. Some of it is crisis actors. But I've seen real ones or where people have really died from police killing them. So Hollywood, they do crisis actors. We know that. We also know that there's state-sanctioned homicide through police in the courts, because you rarely see the police officers being tried for what they did. And it's state-sanctioned. They're not going to tell you that, but that's what they do to be able to murder, and then they rig the trial for the people to get off. Is it right? No, but this is the reality and the history of the government. You have black men wearing dresses. Tyler Perry, Chris Rock. Are they really that talented? Or did these European secret society people say, we'll make you famous and rich, and you just disgrace people and fool the young youth that are confused and wear these dresses like good Negroes and deceive the masses? Tyler Perry dressing up as Medea, abomination of God. Black men love most people. Black people are very loving and kind. Of course, with all races, you have exceptions, good and bad. Most people do not love black men or black people. Can't say most people, but through the media and the presentation of blacks, like Will Smith and Chris Rock and that thing, to where it would put a bad taste in someone's mouth. So these are things to think about. The depiction of black men doing negative things for the world to see, where the news and the media don't have those kind of roles of positive roles, always negative and stereotypical roles of pimps or gangsters. And you barely see movies of positivity. There might be some that exist, but this is Hollywood promoting these hidden agendas. Next slide. This is just a slide from Fox News. Bureau of Justice Statistics 1976 to 2005. Involved in homicide. African Americans make up 13% of population. Committed more than half of all murders. 93% black murder victims killed by other blacks. So these are just things to think about, statistics, what they mean, the data. They're just something to think about. Next slide. What is the price of fame worth? The soul is neither to be sold nor bought, as it is an intangible asset together with each breath. It tells us that we are animated beings, unlike stones that are inanimate or inanimate objects. Whoever sells their soul is reduced to a stone. That's unknown. Some I searched online and I couldn't find who the person said that. It's a very popular biblical scripture. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? It's no profit. Mark 8:36. And then from the Quran, Surah 4, Ayat 120, he promised them, entices them. What the devil promises is no more than an illusion. So all the fame and riches that one would achieve, we can't take it with us. Just some people want it more than others. The fame, the glamour, the glitz, the Hollywood actors, whether black or white. Something to think about. Hoax or facts? Hoax or fact? In the closing statement. So, is it a hoax or a fact? You have the symbology of the Freemasons. This is possibly staged. Oscars for ratings. All the symbology and the rituals. Is it a fact? Is it the duality that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock for disrespecting his wife, and then later he was crying, apologizing for the award? Did he know he was going to win? Is it a fact? It's a fact that he did slap him, but we don't know the behind the scenes. Did Will Smith slap August Alsina? So these are things to think about. Another question: how do you perceive the world? Do you love these people to where do you say they just made a harmless mistake of anger? Do you know these people truly and know them? Or do you know of them by watching their programs and listening to their music? So this is how we perceive the world, through our emotions, through our experiences. And we have to differentiate what is real and what is not. Do you worship these actors? Do not worship false idols. We understand they're talented, but once again, they can neither help us nor harm us. So this is something to think about. A lot of them are attractive, eloquent speeches, but think about it. Are most of these actors Satan worshippers? The proof is in plain sight. But I would say for you to study yourself and research it. They're not believing in God. Who are they believing in? Satan. So ask yourself that question and look into it. Research. Don't take what I'm saying, but take what you're saying for what you studied and what you feel and know is right by fact. Trust in Allah, God. Trust in Allah, trust in God, and that's what it's all about. Hearsay. We weren't at any of these events, so you have to ask yourself, is it real? Your mind could come to those conclusions, but that's the purpose of studying, to know. Each one teach one. Learn, study, trust in God, so you'll know. Next slide. Special thanks, references, all praise and thanks due to Allah. And it's the end of the video. Please like and subscribe. Any questions or comments, you could put in a comment section. I usually do child support videos with my brother Reggie, but this is something a little different. So thank you very much for your time and have a blessed day. Goodbye.